Okay. Now I want a quick recap. What do you know about living and non-living things? Have you watched a video?
No.
You are supposed to watch your video before lesson 7. I mean week 7 and also lesson 7. And also if you can watch week 8 as well. So you're supposed to watch that, because if you don't know what I'm talking about. And also you won't know what to answer in your MCQ questions. So I'm going to ask you now, what do you know about living and non-living things? Give me the characteristics of living and non-living things.
Non-living things reproduce by spore, while living things reproduce by seeds.
No, totally wrong. Are you serious? Living things, what does living things consist of? It is not just plants. Totally wrong. It's got nothing to do with spores and seeds or whatever. No, totally wrong. Check your notebook again.
Daily air, food, and water.
Yes. You just refer to your notebook, right? Please make sure you think first before you answer, okay? So I'm gonna show you again a quick note to recap while the rest. Okay, let me stop share first. I'm gonna show you my notes so that you can actually recap again what's what is living and non-living things, okay? Now please do this before your lesson, all right? You're supposed to do this before your lesson.
Take a picture of them.
Take a picture of what?
I'll take a screenshot of it.
Of my notes. No, not this one. So I'm gonna actually go through again. So a quick recap. Where is the Zoom? Okay, I'm gonna share screen. Quick recap. Basically, the answer that you give me is wrong until I actually emphasize what is living and non-living things. Okay, hi, who's this? How do I pronounce your name? I only, can you rename your, is this Vanda Sarisa?
Yes.
Can I just pronounce as Sarisa?
Okay.
Sarisa, yeah. Okay, so welcome. I think this is the first time you meet me. Yeah. A quick note, just because we already begin the over 1 month since the year started. So my usual practice is I advise to actually have a little notebook, a science notebook for all your students, for everyone. Okay, this notebook cannot be your school notebook. It has to be something nice, your own personal notebook for you to jot down your notes for every lesson, so that when it comes to exam, you just need to take out the notebook to revise. Okay, so this one notebook for you. And second, go to the toilet quickly if you need to now. Have your water, bring it now before we actually start the lesson, because I'm going to go full straight. I don't want any interruptions in between going up and down until your break time in between lesson 45 minutes later. Okay, so we're going to touch on the question, living and non-living things, and you're supposed to watch a video before the lesson. I don't know if you know that on the website that we are at week 7 now, so you're supposed to go and watch all the way from week 1 to week 7 if you already haven't. All right, and then before next week 8, you're supposed to watch week 8. Okay, that video is supposed to explain what this lesson is about, so that when you come, we don't waste time go through all the notes like I'm doing right now, because Rudran didn't watch the video. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna spend 5-10 minutes to just run through again, and then we're gonna go straight into the questions. The lesson will be best used for helping you to answer and tackle challenging questions, okay, rather than just for me to go through your notes. So what is living and non-living things? Like I say, Rudran is not about seeds, spores, or whatever. It's basically about things that are alive and things that are not. Okay, non-living things, they do not grow, they do not die, they are basically not alive, and they don't need air, food, and water. Now, this note is supposed to appear on your notebook because it's very straightforward. It's at the key point, so that's why I actually put it in the bullet point. Okay, It cannot move on its own, and it may be alive once. Like example, wood. Wood comes from trees. Trees used to be alive before we chop them down. Okay, so the common materials, you got wood, ceramic, plastics, cotton, metal, rubber, etc., etc. There are many types. All right. Living things are the ones that are alive and they can die.
I just
We
took a
do need,
shot.
sorry?
Just took a screenshot.
Oh, okay, good. You can take a screenshot if you want to, if it's faster, rather than copying down. But anyway, the video is recorded. You can play back the video at the end of lesson if you want to copy down, okay? So living things, it can live and die. It needs air, food, and water to survive. We can move on our own, but of course, plants generally, when they grow, they change their position. So they move rather very slowly. And also they're only shown the movement in their growth. Okay, they can't really like walk. They don't have legs. All right. But other than that, we all can move. And animals are divided into many different groups. There are actually many ways to divide them. So either you put them under vertebrates or invertebrates, basically with a bone structure or without the bone structure. All right, with bone structure, you have typically 5 groups of them: amphibians that both live on land and on water, in water, and fishes that are only living in water, reptiles, again, land and water, birds and mammals. So generally, to classify according to their characteristics and their appearances is basically these 5 groups. Otherwise, there are other ways of describing them. You can either put them under scales or without scales, or you can put them under legs, number of legs, 2 legs or 4 legs. So it really is a very wide genre of how you want to divide them into what groups. Okay, now invertebrates. I think all these names look very unfamiliar to you, but they are actually basically different groups of animals that without bone structure. Okay, so we will go into further as we go along, but you just need to know some of it. You don't really need to memorize or spell it because they are not tested in this way. You just need to know vertebrates and invertebrates. Okay, so plants, the very common one is the food producer. They can make their own food. We don't need to feed them. Probably if you keep them at home, you just need to water them. But otherwise, if they're in the wild, they'll get their water from the rain. Okay, they're also called autotrophs. They can move, but not technically move. But their movement is only shown in how they grow. Okay, I would say give example mimosa. When you actually touch it, have anyone touched mimosa before? You should have, because it's very interesting. They will actually, most of the time, you can find them in the field. So when you actually accidentally brush your feet against them, they will just quickly close. And the movement is actually a lot faster when they close compared to when they open. So I did once when I was younger, I did sat there and check how long they take to open. They can be as long as 30 minutes to an hour. So I wouldn't actually sit in the field for 1 hour under the sun. So I can't, I was not patient enough and I can't be bothered to sit there so long just to watch them open. But somehow I think they can sense if you are actually in a garden or whatsoever, probably after 10 minutes or so, they will actually open up. Yeah. Hi. I don't know who is this. Is this Joycelyn or something? Your name is, do I call you Joycelyn? Yeah, you probably want to change your name. Okay, we already started, so you might want to record. You can play back the video in the beginning to see what you missed. I'm just going to quickly go through all the notes for this before we go on to the questions. And then we're going to practice your structured questions. Okay, so plants, again, you have your plants that can make their own food is because they have a green pigmentation that called chlorophyll, which help them to trap sunlight so they can actually make food. And you can divide them according to flowering or non-flowering plants. Okay, and then after that, another group of plants is under fungi. Fungi, they are actually not food producer, they are decomposers. They help to break down all the dead matter and they are obtain nutrients from any living host. They can actually attach themselves to a living organism and starts feeding on them. Now, a very good example is when you do have fungi, like, I don't know, you know, sometimes it does grow on us. Like I said, that's why the environment is pretty dirty, so we can't really we must always make sure that we are clean. So if you heard about this ringworm on your toes, those people who have dirty feet and never wash or who don't change their socks every day when you come back from school, there's a period of time my brothers, I think in primary school or secondary school, you start getting more active in sports, and then your feet tend to grow fungi. So it gets very itchy. Okay, they are actually small, very small organism that starts to grow because it's very dirty and it starts feeding off the skin. So it becomes very scaly and very itchy, peeling off. So he has to apply some antiseptic cream on it to kill the fungi, the ringworm. Okay, and it usually lasts about a week or so before you can finally get rid of it. All right, so they actually attach themselves to the living host. Okay, so they help to also break down any dead matter as well. Okay, now protozoa is another group of single cell organism. Amobia, parasimon, paramecium, these are the common names you need to remember because they will test these two examples, Amobia and paramecium. They are one cell organism. So basically everything function is right there in that one cell. They breathe, they eat, they don't really eat, they feed through the pores and everything. So they just have this one single, they are the most simplest kind of living organism. Okay, they're found in fresh water, salt water, and also in the soil. Okay, another example, parasites. They basically feed, most of them are parasitic, feed on organisms. So they, like I said, bacteria, example, algae, dead matter, they do attack us and make us sick. So they do feed on our flesh. I mean, not say really our flesh, but any infection or this bacteria is going to develop. So they do feed on technically the flesh. Okay, another group, like I said, bacteria, algae, dead matter. So the next one is a bacteria, a single cell organism. They are found everywhere, whether hot or cold. In case you don't know, I would love to show you one video, but I'm still trying to fix what's wrong with, I did show a video before, but you can't hear the sound. So in case you don't know, in our world, our planet, you think that if there's really hot water, it's going to kill the bacteria, right? You're wrong. In fact, go and Google if you are free and go, there's a YouTube video that actually shows that underneath the ocean, you know, when the seabed, there are actually craters where the molten lava comes out from underneath the ground, which is near the mountain. You know, underground there is molten lava. That's how you get volcano, right? So there's this crates, all these little potholes before they crack open near that whole hot lava. In fact, the hot lava is about over 3,000 degrees, which is really molten lava, really hot. There are actually organisms, bacterial, living on near the water. So if I actually take these bacteria out of the temperature, the 3,000 over degrees temperature, they won't survive. So they need the extreme heats, 3,000 over degrees to actually survive. And that's really hot. That can actually kill us already. In fact, we can actually easily get burned over 100 degrees of hot water already. So these bacteria, they are just organisms that are just so amazing. And if you think that the hot part, there are also bacteria living there in the extreme cold, in the Antarctic and the Arctic, North and South Pole, where temperatures will go as low as minus 200 over degrees on, even though it's like hard ice. Okay, they're actually covering the surface of the ice with almost, I think, minus 200 over degrees, really freezing cold. There are again bacteria and organisms found living on the surface of the ice. So they actually did this research, and actually there's also a YouTube video about saying the extreme bacteria that are living there. So go and check. It's good to know. It's very interesting knowledge. And if you actually take them out of the cold, they can't survive. So there's extreme hot, extreme coldness that they are actually found there. They are basically everywhere. Okay, so typical